Brought to you by Naturals to Go, the VIBEcast is your gateway to realizing your entrepreneurial dreams.
Hey folks, Linda Ballesteros here. Thank you so much for joining me today on VIBEcast. And we are going to have a ball today because we have got some great information coming from Portia Boston here. Recently read an article, it's a LinkedIn article. Let me read this to you. The title of the article was Phoenix Rising, Reinventing Yourself After a Job Loss. Trust me, I was in banking for 30 plus years, and I certainly have had my share of the bank downsizing and being a casualty of that. The article says, like the mystical phoenix rising from the ashes, a layoff can be an opportunity for personal and professional rebirth. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about today with Portia Banks. Portia is a former banker, just like myself, with nearly 30 years experience, and she pivoted into entrepreneurship after being laid off. But today, she owns a successful vending business, and she truly is an example of reinvention. Portia, thanks so much for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You and I have shared back in the green room that we have so much in common with being in banking for 30 plus years and seeing the whole department just disappearing. And I know that you experienced that. So, Portia, tell me a little bit about felt like when you were used to going to work every day, you were used to having that secure job. Everybody thinks banking is one of the most secure industries out there. I can beg to differ with that. But tell us a little bit about how you felt when you found out that you were going to be a casualty of the layoff.
I just felt very out of sorts. Every day you go to work 9 to 5, 9 to 6, and, here today, gone tomorrow. So I remember getting the phone call from my supervisor, and it's like I literally saw the room start spinning around. So I had, even though I knew it was coming, it was still very traumatic for me.
I can remember, Portia, one of the layoffs I was a part of. The My supervisor called me into his office. Portia, I took a notebook and pad because I was going to take notes. I thought this was a planning meeting, and it was a planning meeting. He was planning to let me go. I was totally blindsided by that. So at that point, what did you see your options were?
At the time, like I said, because I knew the layoff was coming, my husband and I had been talking about it, and because I had been working for so long, actually since I was 18 years old, been with the bank since I was 18 years old, I had a pretty decent severance, had a lot of time invested, had investments, but I still thought, let me go right back to work. Working was all I'd ever known. And of course, I wanted to go right back to banking. But my husband said, have you ever thought about taking any time off? And I thought, no, because I need money. But I'm glad he said that because that allowed me to kind of explore other opportunities and just kind of take a step back.
And that gave you a little bit of space to actually see, are there other options out there?
There are other options out there, and also that day that I got laid off, I sent an email out to some of my friends and relatives, and actually one of my relatives said excuse me, actually one of my relatives said, "Hey, we just started a vending machine company with a company called Naturals to Go, you ought to check it out." And I'd heard of vending machines, thought about vending machines, but still I just kinda thought, vending machines, I'm a banker. So, doesn't really sound all that stable, something that can really and they were retired. So I thought, this is great for y'all, but I still need something that's gonna be sustainable income. But I started doing the research and I liked the company.
And so what was it about the company that you felt like could help you grow a business that could replace your banking salary or could provide for your family? What was it about the company that made you feel secure?
Most importantly, the support that you have. A lot of us come from different backgrounds, and I'm a corporate background. I'm someone that was used to sitting in front of a desk all day. My background is in lending, so I had no clue about machines. I'm not very technical at all. Any type of computer learning has actually, for me, come from the bank. So I like the fact that they had great customer service. You got a chance to go down to class, and they show you how to run these vending machines. Because I'd been looking on YouTube. I saw people that had vending machines, but they were always using these old, broke down vending machines that you had to fix. And I know that I did not need anything like that. So I like the fact that you had to go down to a specific place for 2 days and you get to go to class. And this might sound crazy, but I never went to college. So the fact that I could go to vending machine school, that was exciting to me.
Yeah, definitely. So, um, and we're talking about reinventing yourself. So, you clearly didn't have any vending experience. And so did you feel that at some point you were reinventing yourself? You were creating a business that you never thought that you would be in. Did you think that this was something that could build a business?
Well, I really did, and I felt that way because I had such good support. I have good coaches, I have good customer service I can count on, and that gave me a sense of confidence because when things go wrong, if I didn't have that support, I think it would have been easy to quit. But I love the fact that even if you have like a simple question, you can call them and just ask even a simple question. I mean, for example, yesterday, I actually called on a high school and they were saying that they needed the vending machines to be on a timer because they don't want the kids to have access to the products all day long. And so I couldn't reach my coach at the time. And I thought, you know what, let me just call into the Naturals to Go customer service. Well, I called customer service, and one of the people on the line was just like, hey, yeah, we have timers on our machines. So I was able, while I was still there, to tell the customer, hey, yes, we can do timers on the machines. If that's an issue for you, if that's a concern, we're able to do that. So I like that I have that customer service. I can call it anytime.
Yeah, definitely. So you don't feel like you're in business by yourself then, do you?
No. And I think if you did something else, you may only have be able to Google or, do research on your own, but it's always nice to have your coaches or customer service that you can call and just get an answer from right away.
Yeah, it's good to be able to pick the phone up and be able to get your answer right then, right?
Right, because in banking, that's what I was used to. We had customer service lines that we could call and ask a question for just about any department. So I'm kind of used to that, that quick answer, that quick fix. So that was very familiar to me, and with my background, and like I said, someone that doesn't really know a lot about vending machines, that's great to me.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you have a family. So Portia, going into business in the vending business, how did that fit in your family lifestyle as a mom? How did that play out for you?
Well, simply put, I would say flexibility. During the pandemic, I was still with the bank and I was working so many hours. And, you always have that mom guilt because I was devoting so much time to the bank. But with this, my son this summer, this is the first summer that he has actually been able to ride along with me to do the vending machines. So we're in the car together all day long some days, and we're able to talk. But also, he gets to see what I do, and I get to watch him work the vending machines. But more than that, no matter what career path he chooses, he now knows that entrepreneurship is an option because he knows his mom as the banker, but now he sees his mom that's now owning her own business and operating her own business, and he's a part of that. So for me, I love that aspect, being able to teach my son how to run not just my business, but what I call our family business.
I love that, Portia, because it's certainly teaching your son also those work skills. Like you said, whether he goes into the vending business, whether he goes into business for himself, it doesn't matter. You're showing him those work skills that are transferable to anything he does in the future, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what would be one thing that if you could do it differently, if you could do it over again, Portia, what would you do?
Well, I knew for about a year that I was gonna get laid off from work, and if I could do anything differently, because we were very slow in our department, we were just kinda cleaning up. I would have definitely started this business earlier because there were some days that in the corporate world I wasn't doing anything at all. But some days just kind of sitting around watching TV even. So I would have loved to have got started on this business earlier. And then by the time I did get laid off, I would have been that much further along. So that's about the only thing that I would have done differently is just start this business sooner.
Yeah, that's good advice. And as a matter of fact, Portia, I think I even mentioned to you that people have asked me after 30 plus years in banking, do I have any regrets? I said, absolutely. I wish I had left sooner
Yeah.
because I didn't know that there was this whole world of entrepreneurship out there because I had always worked for a bank and always the big banks. So I didn't know there was another world out there. And I don't know if you feel the same, but entrepreneurship is something that is very rewarding, isn't it?
Well, it is rewarding, and I think a lot of times when you have a full-time job, because we are all so busy, you get stuck in a box, and it's a comfortable box, there's nothing wrong with that, because entrepreneurship, it is not for the faint of heart, and so sometimes it's a lot easier to just have a regular check. But when you're able to just kinda step out the box, you can see that there's a whole world going on while you're in your corporate job or you're in your 9 to 5 every day. So, I would encourage anybody, if you're working right now, this is the time to explore those other opportunities. And I think that vending machines are a really good place to start because it's not hard work. Yeah, it's busy because you're ordering, you have to go to your locations, you have to please your customers, but it's not like a hard work that's going to take you, I think, a lot of mental brain power away from your full-time job. So I think vending machines is a great place to start if you're just looking for something, kinda on the side to do and maybe build up to something else in the future. And you can teach your family. I mean, your whole family can do it. That's the great thing too.
It is a simple business.
Mhm.
It's very simple business that anyone can learn very easily. And then, the lovely thing, Portia, is that it's scalable. So how many machines did you start with?
I started with 4 machines, and I now have 9 machines. And the great thing about it was those 4 machines kinda really allowed me to learn the business and then decide, is this something that I want to do? And that's what I really like about that. I didn't start with a whole lot. And if I decided, hey, I didn't like it or this was just enough, it was just 4 machines. Because of course, double machines, I'm even more busy, but that's what I appreciate the most. I didn't start with a lot. I mean, 4 machines is not a lot, but I was busy enough to where I could decide, hey, I really like this and I'd like to move forward.
Mm. And so now you have 9 machines. What
Right.
is your plan for the next couple of years? What does it look like for you growth-wise?
Well, by the end of this year, I like to have 13 machines. Well, I started off saying 12 machines, but now that I've been kinda out prospecting more this summer, and meeting more people, that might turn into 13 machines based on the needs of those locations. But if I had my way, I would say in the next 5 years, I would love to have about 20 machines. That's what I would love to do. I love to have 20 machines because really I think more so about my son that's 11 now. And by the time he gets to be a teenager, I would love to have it where he is working part-time in the business. So I would say in the next 5 years, 20 machines. And I mean, but the sky's the limit, but that is my goal to have 20 machines hopefully in the next 5 years or so.
I love that plan, Portia. You're already saying, I'm going to carve off a certain amount of this route and it's going to be my son's. I'm going to have him responsible for that. And you're training him already. I love that.
Right. He doesn't know it yet, but that's the plan.
That's okay. Don't tell him yet. I love that. I love that. Portia, I know you're busy. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. We're close to the end of the show here. One more time, if someone is listening and they're thinking about possibly starting a business, maybe a vending business, do you have any advice for them?
Honestly, I would say just do it. I'm gonna say why, because a lot of times we spend so much time on our phones, scrolling, looking at everybody else doing something, and I think we feel like sometimes that could ever be me. I could never do that. jump in and do it. Even if it's just making a phone call to Naturals to Go saying, hey, give me more information. Just do it. Just start the process. Like I said, we all just spend time, we scroll, looking at this person being successful, that person being successful. That can be us. And it's not like you're going to be making like a whole lot of money, but just start the process. Just make the phone call. Just start it. Watch more of these videos to get yourself motivated. Find entrepreneurs or mentors. Get yourself motivated and just do it.
Mm, I love that advice, Portia. And honestly, I wish there had been a Portia in my life 10 years prior to me leaving banking saying, just do it, Linda, just do it.
I wish that portion would have been there for me too. So
I love it. I love it. Thanks again, Portia. I appreciate so much your time. So, folks, I always end every show with a quote. This is a Brene Brown quote. One day you'll tell your story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. And if you're listening, maybe Portia's story was your survival guide. Thanks so much for joining me today, folks, on VIBEcast. Until next time, go out and live the vibe.
That's a wrap for this episode of the VIBEcast. We hope you've been inspired and empowered on your entrepreneurial journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all your favorite platforms to stay connected with the Vibe community.